Tonight, I want to tell you a quiet story about belief. Not belief in magic or gods or ghosts, but something even more subtle. A belief in what we think we know, and how that knowing can change. We'll take a gentle walk through a strange and powerful idea from probability theory, something called Bayes' Theorem. But don't worry, there's no math quiz waiting for you. Only quiet wonder and a slow unfolding of how we make sense of new things. So find a soft place to settle. Let your thoughts loosen, and let's sleep on this. Imagine you are walking at night through a foggy forest. You see a glowing light in the distance, faint, flickering, unclear. What do you believe it is? At first, you guess. Maybe it's a lantern, maybe a firefly, maybe a reflection. You make your best guess based on everything you already know. That's your prior belief. But then you walk a little closer. The light shifts. It moves like a flame. Your belief changes. That's what Bayes' theorem helps us do. Update our beliefs when we get new information. It's not just about light and fog. It's about anything uncertain. Diagnosing a patient, reading a mood, interpreting a sign. We always start with something. A guess, a story, a framework. And then we adjust. Slowly, gently, thoughtfully. Bayes' theorem says, don't throw out your old belief. Update it. Treat evidence like a river, not a hammer. Let it flow through your assumptions. Let it carve away what doesn't hold. Let it shape the bank over time. Imagine you're planning a picnic. You check the sky, partly cloudy. You check the weather, 30% chance of rain. You pause. You ask, was it supposed to rain earlier? Has the wind changed? What does the air smell like? With each small detail, you adjust your plan. Maybe bring a blanket. Maybe pack an umbrella. You don't throw the whole idea away. You just fold the new evidence in. That weighing, that balance, is what Bayes helps us do. It's the practice of adjusting what we expect based on what we notice, gently, over time. Sometimes what we believe doesn't come from facts at all, but from stories we've heard, or things we want to be true. Imagine you're trying to guess whether it will rain tomorrow. You check the forecast, sure, but maybe. You also just want a sunny day. And without realizing it, you put more weight on the sunshine than the storm. Bayes helps us notice those moments. To ask quietly, am I trusting this because it's likely or because it's comfortable? Bias doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're human. Bayes doesn't judge. It simply helps you notice and rebalance. It reminds us that beliefs should be like paper boats, strong enough to float, but light enough to shift with the current. We live in a world where information arrives fast, too fast sometimes. Headlines, feeds, warnings, hopes. Bayes is not a rule that tells you what to believe. It's a compass that helps you change your mind slowly. And that's rare, because so often we're asked to take sides quickly, to be certain, to feel confident. But Bayes whispers, wait, notice what you believed before. Now fold this new piece in. Does it change the shape of what you thought? It teaches us that changing your mind is not weakness, it's wisdom. You already use Bayes, even if you've never heard of it. When you hear a knock at the door and expect a friend, that's a prior. When you hear their voice behind it, that's evidence. When you open the door smiling, that's your updated belief. When you're baking and you smell something sweet, you expect the cookies are done. But then you check the oven and they're still pale. Your belief updates. When someone says, I'm fine but won't meet your eyes, you weigh the tone, the history, the way they said it last time. You update. You do it quietly, constantly. Bayes just gives us a name for the wisdom we already practice. Belief shaped by evidence. There's a quiet kind of strength in not knowing yet, in being willing to wait for more light. Bayes teaches us how to sit gently with uncertainty, how to resist the urge to jump ahead, and instead fold new evidence into our thinking like warm layers. The mind doesn't need to hurry, and truth doesn't always arrive fully formed. It might come in fragments, a conversation, a pattern, a pause. And when it does, you know how to weigh it, to breathe with it, to let it settle. Sometimes the world gives us small surprises. You discover that a friend you thought was shy is actually quite bold, or that something you avoided, like drawing or singing or speaking up, quietly brings you joy. And your beliefs about yourself, about others, about what's possible begin to shift. Bayes doesn't demand a sudden leap. It gives us a way to respond to gentle changes, to say, I thought I knew, and now I know a little more. Even when our assumptions are off, that doesn't mean we've failed. It just means we're learning. Bayes reminds us that change isn't just allowed, it's part of how we grow. To trust what we've known, but stay open to what we're still discovering. The world is noisy, and sometimes certainty feels safer than curiosity. But tonight, I want to invite you into the quiet, the slow unfolding, the kind of thought that doesn't rush to conclusion, but breathes through possibility. Imagine your mind as a field. Bayes doesn't build a wall, it plants seeds. It watches how they grow when the light shifts. It welcomes new weather, new seasons, new signs. You don't need to master the math. You already know how to listen, how to notice, how to adjust. You are wiser than you think. So tonight, let your mind drift toward softness, toward questions that don't need fast answers. Is there something you once believed that you now see differently? Can you forgive yourself for not knowing sooner? Can you trust that part of growth is the quiet work of being open to change? Sleep well tonight, not because you know everything, but because you know how to listen, to shift, to weigh, to believe a little more, a little differently each time. Sleep well. Sleep on this.